Hello everyone, and welcome to the ASMR Review Show. I have a video today that I was not sure if I was ever going to make. Was undecided on it, because it was a game that I was not super interested in based on what everybody had said about it. And well, you know the game from how it was that was in the title of the video. Of course, this is the Callisto Protocol. Now, yeah, it was one that I was super hyped for when it was coming out. You know, a new game from the developer of Dead Space, Glen Schofield, his own new studio. And it was coming out right at the same time as the Dead Space remake. So we thought, oh, that's going to be pretty cool, right? But yeah, it was not, and I always thought it was odd how the game just kind of starts. Feels like I've almost, faded in like partway through a scene. I thought that was a little odd way to start. Sometimes games have some kind of intro to them here. This one just sort of starts a little strange. But yeah, Callisto Protocol came out and it did not get good reviews. It did not sell well. Everyone just trashed it, and I could barely even find anyone talking about how, oh, the game's actually underrated. It's actually worth your time. So I didn't play it, and I thought I might give it a try after they had gone through all of the DLCs they were putting out, and the patches. Like I remember one thing that they showed getting patched was the healing animation, and they kind of tweaked the enemy AI a bit because it was very annoying to have a game that's focused on one-on-one melee combat in a game where enemies swarm you. Not very great design, all right. Jump scare. Yeah, so I wasn't going to originally, but then just earlier this year, I finally decided, you know what, I'm gonna bite the bullet on it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna play this game and see how it goes. And originally, I had not intended to make a video because I kind of thought, well, this will be a game I play and I won't have much to say, and no one's gonna watch it anyway. That is part of the thing. I don't just make the video because I want to make it. I want to make it because I think someone's going to watch it, Like sometimes there's videos I feel, did I need to bother making a 4-hour, 5-hour video on this game? Maybe there's some other people that enjoyed it, but maybe not. I don't know. Not everybody did. So, yeah, but I felt I had enough I wanted to talk about this game, it being so, relatedly unrelated to Dead Space, that is, right? With all the connections, and the references, and the style. So, yeah, I thought, well, why don't we do it? We'll see what I can get. So, we got about 90 minutes or so to talk about this. Let's see what we can get up to, right? So the footage you're going to be seeing is actually New Game Plus, okay? Because I wanted to play through the game just to, play through it, Sometimes I just like to play a game. I don't want to have to think about, okay, now you got to make sure you record these parts, and oh, you forgot to record that part. Best go back and reload a save, I just wanted to play it for what it is. And then afterwards I decided, well, I still got a couple of trophies I can do a little cleanup on, try to figure out. So why don't we jump into New Game Plus and we sort of speed through it and we hit up those big moments, and then I could kind of know ahead of time the moments to record, having played it already, because this was actually I would say a decently paced and decently length of a game. Because I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of big games these days, and the style. I'm kind of getting a little burnt out on big giant open world games with a map twice the size of Europe, and 7,000 side quests totaling 4,000 hours of play. It just gets a little overwhelming, and I feel like I'm missing out if I don't do everything. but doing everything can be quite a chore, and I don't get as much time for gaming. I'm not always into it. Sometimes I want to game. Sometimes I want to watch movies. Sometimes I want to play music. Right? It's like I feel like this is a split between the three, and there's only so much time to be able to do all these. Right? I do kind of miss the retroness of games being, 8 to 9 hours in length. You could essentially like speed through a game over a weekend, right? That was fun. I missed that time, and that doesn't really happen anymore because you've got games like Last of Us where it takes like 20 hours to play the story, and it's like everything's super lengthy. So I'll give this game points for it was refreshing to just play like a nice simple story game that I banged out in about a week, and then I was able to go through and do it in even less time for the this video here. So yeah, that's kind of the lengthy intro. I haven't really talked so much about the game with what we're seeing, but it's the intro to the game, right? And it's a survival horror game, so usually that results in a protagonist with some kind of shady background getting caught or trapped in an area. And in this case, this is Jacob Lee and his ship crashing back onto Callisto, home of the infamous prison, Black Iron Prison, which is funny because that's BIP, but like, if the blood gets on the B, it kind of looks like RIP, and this guy here has definitely seen better days, that's for sure. Oh dear. Yeah, and we had the intro showing this supposed terrorist attack on Europa. Now, I saw that footage at the beginning with her wandering around, and I was like, oh, so she's like the sole survivor of this thing. No, the game tries to paint her as being like the leader of this terrorist group. And we're talking spoilers already, but this is a like 2-3 year old game that nobody played, so I don't think that matters. Yeah, and I never thought it was a twist that like the Europa terrorist attack was not a terrorist attack. Like, it seems weird. It's such a common trope these days now in like dystopian sci-fi that surprise, surprise, the government is evil and has a secret agenda, and yeah, of course. And no surprise there. So I do think it's weak on the game that the game tries to throw in several big twists, like the company was evil all along and the prison was evil all along. I guess it's not a twist for the American audiences who are used to having a built-for-profit prison system. That's just how it works, right? Yeah, and then we have what's his name here? This guy, the Sam Witwer, is it? I forget the prison guard's name, but everyone just talks about how he's the apprentice from Force Unleashed. That's cool. And there we have it, the title card, the Callisto Protocol. See, it's funny, everyone thought this was going to be like an unofficial Dead Space remake, and it was. It was an unofficial Dead Space 3 remake, because we're caught in a snowy prison area, right? And have to survive, and the game is, of questionable quality to some people who aren't super into this style of game. So yeah, story-wise, it's pretty standard. There's a company, and they are evil, and they are doing evil things, right? That's about that. And Jacob Lee's a guy who turns out has a shady past. I actually thought there was funny. Oh, Ferris, that's his name. I thought there was going to be a bit more of a twist with Jacob Lee. Like, I don't know exactly what I was expecting. Part of me was wondering if it was going to be some kind of like BioShock style twist. Spoiler alert for BioShock Infinite, like a Booker is Comstock sort of thing. Like, it just seemed weird to me that it was like this guy crashes and they're automatically like, oh, he's he's a high priority prisoner, you gotta bring him in, right? And I guess it was just literally because, oh, he knows that we unleashed a virus on Europa, and that's it. Really, I thought there'd be like some kind of more thing to it, like he was secretly his brother or his son, or no, I was overcomplicating it apparently, which is funny that I overdid it. So yeah, Ferris is kind of a fun character. He's very kind of like by the book and tries to be sort of look here, man. Look, it ain't that kind of a scene, right? And then he slowly goes more Resident Evil villain over time. I think that's pretty cool. Almost kind of wish we got more of him, like he's like the G virus of the game Resident Evil 2 remake. That was a good game. That was a fun one. I like that one a lot. Still never played the Resident Evil 3 remake though, because some people weren't super into it. And I haven't played OG Resident Evil 4, and now they've gone and remade Resident Evil 4 and I still haven't played it. But they kept the bingo line, and that's what matters most. Also, we have these super badass, awesome robots, the security bots, and man, at least in the regular campaign, are these guys such a letdown, as everybody has said. It's like you sneak past one, you shoot two of them in the head, and then they're just gone from the game. Can you imagine if that happened with the big daddies in BioShock, it's just a little odd, but we'll talk about them more when we get to those sequences here. And Caitlin Mahler. Oh god, no, I don't want to hear about how this is objectively a bad game. No, moving on. Funny how the doctor's name is Mahler as well. I see what you did there here. And of course we have the Dead Space trademarked health displayed on the back through some kind of technological device. And in this case, it is the what do they call these things again? Your core, right? It's not a rig; it's a core, right? And then you got your health injectors. I wasn't the biggest fan of this health system because reading a little tiny bar on the back of your neck is a lot more difficult to do than a giant long bar that goes up the entirety of your spine. I found it hard to tell sometimes, am I at full health? Do I need more? Like, is this yellow as in yellow I'll die from the next hit? Or yellow as in yellow I can survive a hit and be in the red? So, it's a fun idea, but not fully implemented well. I mean, as many have said, the game looks great. And sounds great, and that is good. These are good things that the game looks and sounds good. And I'm trying to think. I had a couple of bugs. I had a crash randomly in the middle of a cutscene. But the crash that no jump scare. The crash that annoyed me the most, though, was I beat the final boss of the DLC. The final cutscene played. I was about to hit save recording on it, and the game crashed. And so then I had to go beat the final boss all over again on the hardest difficulty. But thankfully I beat it first try. Would have really sucked to have gone through that, do that all over again. So then, as you can see, since this is New Game Plus, I decided to not go with the default look. I went with the armor look that gives me, the blue neon like the rig, because we're going for that Dead Space look. So yeah, here we are in the prison. And then the other thing that kind of felt left a lot to be desired with Callisto Protocol. Yeah, no, let's just stay in our cell. Why not? Have a nice cold pint, wait for it all to blow over. The other thing that really disappointed me in Callisto Protocol was the level design to some extent, because you've got all these hallways that've got so much intricate detail to them, and there's a lot a lot of stuff put everywhere. There's a lot of boxes and little details. And yeah, how's that for an intro? See, that's a pretty cool intro for these security bots. It's like Big Daddy, right? He shows up, he wrecks somebody up, messes with them, and then we gotta sneak past them. Okay, so we got ourselves a little stealth segment here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. The next encounter will not be as fun. But yeah, there's so much cool, intricate detail in all these things, and yet I also can't help feeling that like the game feels like small scale, not in a good way. Like I think about Dead Space. Dead Space was always giving you like, it was feeling claustrophobic with lots of cramped hallways and small environments and railings, but it was also giving you lots of like big open areas or like windows to the outside. You could see space and you could see that, and you had a really good sense of where you were, how everything connected together. And this was, even further highlighted in the Dead Space remake, where they managed to put all of these areas into the Ishimura and have them fit all together seamlessly, so you could go throughout the entire ship without encountering an obvious loading screen that wasn't like disguised as an elevator or a door. And I love my disguised loading screens. I think it's kind of become how should I say it, the art form on it's been a bit lost, because nowadays we have, of course, the new trend is the squeeze through a narrow gap, right? The trend was the chest high walls for a while for all those cover-based shooters, and now the new one that just every game is doing, regardless of what game it is the squeeze through the narrow passageway, right? And Callisto Protocol is quite guilty of those as well, That's why I got so annoyed when Dead Space Remake was coming out, and the one thing they were showing was squeezing through a narrow passageway, right? Like, are you kidding me? That's how we're showing off the game, by showing off a thing that wasn't in the original that makes it more generic? What? But it's okay. That was like one part, and then you can actually shoot a little thing to make the chest high wall disappear, or the narrow passageway. So yeah, that was our stealth encounter with a security robot. That's it. That's the only stealth against a security robot you need for the whole game, and it's over. I remember this is a really intense part for me, and oh, don't open that chest. Don't do that. That's a trap. That's not good. There's a little brainworm in there, that same brainworm that's in, what's his name, the RF John Kennedy Jr. guy, whoever he is. He just looks like Leland Palmer possessed by, Twin Peaks spoiler, by the way. It looks like Leland Palmer's possessed by Bob. I'm watching Twin Peaks right now because David Lynch died, and it's sad. Getting ready for good old season 3. Yeah, so the level design is kind of all over the place, and then it feels disjointed and disconnected and not much thought and layout to it. And I think this is actually highlighted by the developers, because they said that it was like they'd be some people working on one room and some working on another, and so they're like, how do we make these rooms connect? You just go through a vent, right? Or you go through a narrow passageway, and then it's definitely reflected in the level design not being the greatest. I wish we kind of got more of those, like, great views, and there are a couple moments like the cell block area is pretty cool. And oh, we got ourselves a dude, and he hit me. That's bad. But I've got my good old stun baton now, and that is good too. So yeah, also weird for a game focused on the melee combat that you get one melee weapon, and it's your stun baton. And it's a fun stun baton. I do like it. But it could use a little more. And then, so when I played the game the first time, I did it on normal difficulty. And for the New Game Plus, I did it on hard, because it was New Game Plus. I had stuff upgraded, and I was able to then get the achievement for New Game Plus. But the thing I found with the game's combat that was annoying was it was kind of like there were certain encounters where if I took like a hit against a singular enemy and I had just like checkpointed, I would almost just reload from my checkpoint, Like don't want to bother taking miscellaneous damage that I don't need, because you don't get many health packs. The health is just a random drop from enemy. You don't know if you're going to get that. And you can carry absolutely nothing in your inventory. The inventory is so bad in this game. Like 6 inventory slots is just not realistic when you've got health injectors, ammo for multiple guns, the little doohickeys that you gotta bring to the store for credits, and then there's the gun schematics to unlock certain guns. It's just like, not like, how should I say this? It's not like limited to create tension. Also funny, I legit thought that like Ferris had gotten killed off here. Like I thought that was it. But looking back, I realized, oh yeah, that's a very much like a we'll see him again sort of thing, So I got disappointed, like, oh, that guy was a cool character. That's all we saw of him, right? I thought that was it, but looking back, I guess I didn't see him die, right? So yeah, oh well. Yeah. So I don't know, wasn't super into that. Yeah, I found the difficulty was a little kind of all over the place in that way. Like, it just seems it's too easy to take damage, and like not in like a fun way, especially when you get absolutely nothing for oh god dang it, get over here you. You get nothing for credits in this game, and health packs cost 500, and I let me put it this way. I went in through New Game Plus. I tried to sell every bit of extra health packs or ammo or anything I could find. I sold every single one of the special goodies, that you can pick up. And I basically managed to get all the weapons fully upgraded right at the very final store of New Game Plus. So I don't think that's really great, especially when some of those alternate versions have these alternate fire modes that are just like, oh, it's got homing shots and it costs twice as much ammo when you barely get any ammo and you barely have room to store ammo. It's like you needed like the ammo to give you more stacks, or you needed like more inventory. I don't know. Not a fan of it. But yeah, this is me having fun with the grip mechanic, which is, basically this game's version of Kinesis. Only this one is more fun in that the game gives you many, many environmental hazards to throw these, what do you even call them again? Biophage, right? The biophage mutants, not zombies, not necromorphs, not infected, biophage. Yeah, the game just gives you all these different ways to throw them into like objects, and I love it. There's so many great bits. No, not careful. Watch your step past me. Yeah, anytime there's a room where they give you like a grip recharge battery pack, and they give you all these spinning tops of doom, it's just wonderful. I just love it so much. So you just go total ham. The only problem is that you don't get any loot if the body gets completely disintegrated, so it's a thing to keep in mind. But there's a lot of fun rooms like that, and there's spikes everywhere, so I guess it technically wins in that way. That it's a much more limited resource because it doesn't recharge as fast, but also it's fun in that you can more directly kill necromorphs, biophage enemies with it, because in necromorphs you had to cut off a limb and shoot them with that, or like with a pipe or a rod. So yeah, here we go. Game basically just says, oh, just shoot it in the head, and that's it. And then you hide behind some crates while he does an insta-kill attack, and then give him a second to do his insta-kill attack, and then you go, and then you shoot him in the head a few more times, and that's it. 30 seconds. Oh, this is kind of weak. I guess I understand maybe the in-lore mentality was that, the security bots can be taken out easily by a gun, then you don't have to worry about them turning on you, but yeah, no. No, yeah, yeah, no. That went from yeah, no to no, yeah, real quick, right? And yeah, here we go. We got another squeeze through a narrow passageway while there's a corpse in your face, which is almost identical to a scene in the Dead Space remake, which is kind of strange. Jump scare. And this is the part where we have the tentacles that cause the enemy to mutate, right? Into the harder, better, faster, stronger versions. So the thing with these guys, though, is like basically they're the same enemy, they just hit a little harder. And it is an interesting dynamic for them to introduce, because it means that, you know, you have to now make sure you've got ammo before you could realistically just take them down, just as it is with your melee. But now ammo is also needed, or you could just be like me and not bother with that. They do hit quite hard, especially on the hard difficulty. They could like basically two-shot you. And I'm sure you guys probably saw the good old shoot the tentacles, right? Okay, yeah, you know, shoot the limbs, cut off their limbs, dismember them. See, this is one of the rooms I'm talking about. We got a little bit more. It is a claustrophobic area, but it's more open. You know, it feels a little more like connected. And then we've got these weird-ass invisible biophage monsters, you know. These ones, they're definitely pretty spooky. Probably one of the scarier ones in the game. The ones that at least got me on edge the most. Because they can go invisible, and then they kind of look like a reject monster from Scorn. You remember Scorn? That was a pretty interesting game, I want to say. You know, it was definitely maybe a little something different, but I mean, it seemed to me it was what I expected it would be, so I liked it for that, you know. Yeah, they look like Scorn reject monsters, but also they kind of got a bit of an element of that, you know, Dead Space stalker element to them, right? The whole like sneaking around and waiting for the right moment to strike. So I like that, and they do hit quite hard. I feel like they were a little underutilized, though, at least in the main game. And of course, found a good old trick was, you know, use the grip technique as the get over here mode. And the takedowns are satisfying in this game. Feels good. And that's the thing. There's I feel like a good sense of, you know, brutality and force behind the stun baton. And it's interesting because, again, there's some complaints I had with the base game, and the DLC addressed them. And again, going off that this game was actually just secretly a Dead Space 3 remake, is that, you know, like Dead Space 3, there was a DLC that had the real ending of the game, which sucks, but it was actually good, and it, like, kind of added and fixed up issues I had with the main game and addressed them properly. Like, one of the main ones was, like in Dead Space 3, was that it wasn't super scary, and then Awakening DLC, it added in the, like, weird hallucinations again, and those weird cult unitologist guys, so I really liked that. And here we got, you know, this is a pretty fun set piece bit. Again, not too many of those set piece moments, more restrained in that Dead Space 1 style of way, but this is an interesting one. Basically, you know, you gotta like dodge the pillars on the way down the sewage pipe, you know, which is kind of an interesting bit, I think. This is a fun bit, definitely pretty intense, kind of gets me like going, oh, where's the next one going? Where's it happening? Is it you? Is it that? So yeah, I like that. Definitely, I don't think it hits as hard as some of the bits in the Dead Space games. You know, not nearly as cool as the dodging all the asteroids. Right? There's kind of a moment later like this in the game that I feel is just like there to be there. Not as great, but oh well, what can you do? You know, it has its moments. My goal is to try to do this flawlessly, you know, not lose health randomly. So, yeah, some good bits. But yeah, the Callisto Protocol DLC, I included it in this video. We'll get to it. And again, also, like, addressed and fixed and solved some of my many complaints with the base game, which is kind of fun in that way. Yeah, I don't know. And here, of course, I got a fun little jump here and a nice bit, and I don't know what it is, just something about like the water, the chains, and like the lighting here we get in the next bit, and it's definitely one of my favorite, like, quote-unquote shots in the game. I really like the look to it. Maybe perhaps something about this is giving me, I don't know, Alien Resurrection vibes, but just not there with the light, the look. I really like that, you know. That make a great screenshot, I think. Perhaps there's just a certain vibes I'm feeling, you know. So yeah, I guess you're probably getting from this that I'm not the biggest fan of the game, but I don't hate it. If anything, I'm sad in that I feel like the game had potential here and there, and there was a lot of, you know, corners cut or issues, things that went on in it, you know, to make it not good. But if I had to give it a score, which I don't like doing scores, I would say it's like a, you know, a solid 6, maybe a 6.5, not exactly a 7. See, there we go. We got ourselves a nice, gorgeous view here. That's pretty cool, and I like the look of this area, you know, with the trees, right, and oxygen processing area, the forests. It's giving me very, the thing it actually gives me vibes for is there was this alien-themed book I read, and it was meant to be like, after Alien Resurrection and the surviving crew of the Betty go on another adventure, and that was a pretty interesting one. That one, I guess, doesn't count anymore in terms of the canon, but I think the idea was that, like, the engineers were actually like some ancient alien race that was already in dealings with humans, and that they had been like all in contact and explored like the lore of it. But this was all before Prometheus was a thing. But they were in this big like biodome with forest and stuff, and they were fighting aliens in there. That's what it reminds me of, this random alien book. I forget what it's titled. I remember how the cover looked, though. So we've got another security bot. What's going to happen? What could it be? Well, we're going to shoot him a couple times in the head. He's going to shoot, and I'm going to dodge. I'm going to shoot him a few more times. Wait for him to fire at me, and then there we go. That's it. That is the entirety of the security bot gameplay in the base game. So again, issue that the DLC addressed was having the biobots. They were pretty spooky. And also giving you more of the big kill box rooms with the spooky invisible crawly guys. There was a bit of a big fight against them here. Probably one of the toughest ones because it's like right before you get your upgraded suit. So it's kind of almost marking like a sort of unofficial halfway point to the game. But, you know, it was me fighting a bunch of the invisible guys, and we've seen that already. We don't need more of that, you know. Much like the game Callisto Protocol, this video is mercifully short, you know, in some elements. But that's the other thing I can say about Callisto Protocol. Yeah, it was very well paced. I felt almost every segment was like as long as it needed to be. The only part that was quite long, and this could just be me though being paranoid, is the bit we'll see footage of coming up with the blind biophage monsters, because I wasn't sure how like nitpicky you needed to be on getting them to detect you, you know. So perhaps I spent a bunch of time crawling and being stealthy when I was actually perfectly fine and perfectly safe and didn't have any worry of being attacked, right? So that's on me. You know, it's kind of like in Dark Souls 3, the, what did you call it? Farron Keep, the big first poison swamp in the game with 3 poison swamps, right? Yeah, there's like these weird, like it's like poison sacks looking sort of things, and they're like hanging from the trees, and I don't know why the first time I played that level, I totally had it in my mind that it was like some kind of like monster that would like drop and attack you if you went under it. So I spent the entirety of the Farron Keep level going through the trees and exploring, but also avoiding going directly underneath any of these weird, like, poison sac looking things. And it's just meant to be like, you know, like trees and showing they're corrupted. I was so convinced. It's always a prize. I was so convinced that it was a monster and it wasn't. So again, that's on me for making my playthrough, you know, adding artificial difficulty, right? Oh yeah, by the way, Elias is dead, which is sad because he was cool, you know. I liked him as a character, you know. It's he was a good, shall we say, what, man in the chair, right? That's what we call him, you know, the radio guy. There's always a guy on the radio, right? And then, yeah, Ferris shows up, and now he's getting a little more crazy and mutated. There's always a price to pay. So, yeah, that's the thing. And again, much like Dead Space 3, halfway through the game, we get a suit and we go outside in the snow, and there's a bit where we almost get killed. Though, again, another thing I really hate to say, but this game did not utilize the cool snowy environments as much as Dead Space 3. I really loved that about Dead Space 3. Yeah, that whole bit where you were like trying to, like, you know, maintain your body heat and your temperature, and you had to go near the fires or go inside. Yeah, it's a pretty intense bit. Made it those moments where you get to like inside and you get to a heater, made them pretty fun, almost like finding a bonfire in Dark Souls. You know, there was a real sense of like warmth, and the cold really felt cold. But this section I was really let down by. I mean, that's a great view. That, you know, there's some very great visuals here, but it's such a short bit. You know, we get inside soon, and then that's it. I felt again it was wasted potential, which is most of this game. It's just sad. I also love that the achievement for when you get up to the flight deck is in the pipe 5x5. Yeah, you see, you knew what you were doing there. You knew naming a trophy after an aliens line. Yeah. So that's how it is. That the other thing that kind of weirds me out is like, it's not a Dead Space game, but you know, in Dead Space everything was kind of meant to look like it was one camera shot. But this is before that was a thing you could flaunt, so it's funny that, you know, God of War keeps on flaunting that it's all in one take, you know, one take, no loading screens. Yeah, Dead Space did it already, settle down. And they didn't need, you know, narrow pathways to do it. They had elevators, and I much prefer elevators, because you can still get attacked in an elevator, right? Yeah, so it's weird to see, like, watch this with camera cuts, you know. It just feels wrong, right? But yeah, our escape plans have been derailed, quite literally. So, yeah, now we are falling down, oh no. It's interesting, I missed the prompt the first time to take her hand. It doesn't really matter much. I'm wondering if you miss your prompts too much here, if you just die, if you need to hit them, I'm not sure. But yeah, we got another like sort of falling section, and it's pretty cool, but there's something weird to it, you know. It's like Jacob's movement here, it seems like he's like falling in slow motion perhaps, and doesn't have nearly that level of intensity as the flying and falling segments in Dead Space had, so oh well. Points for trying, but I feel it's not nearly as, like, you know, cool of a moment. It felt like it was kind of just there to be there, which is unfortunate to say. Now I've snuck through the area with all the blind ones. The blind ones are kind of a bit of a meme, you know, because you have like a stealth kill takedown, a pre-animated stealth takedown, where you very noisily and very loudly like stab a screeching monster right next to a blind one that's supposed to be all about careful hearing, you know. So yeah, here we have the platform ride again, much like the platform drill ride in Dead Space 2. They just throw a ton of enemies at you, give you a ton of ammo, But I came prepared for this because the RNG loot box gods blessed me with a whole bunch of grip batteries. And I love the grip batteries because when you have them, you can just go full ham, full send, literally, on your grip and kinesis. And so I don't care about loot. I'm good on inventory. I'm just going to grab everybody and throw you off this ride. Just call me Harrison Ford because I'm telling you to get off my plane. Yeah, so, oh no, I can't throw. Well, let's just use another grip battery. Oh no, I used a grip battery. Well, let's go grab another one. I'm actually really surprised. I think the game, there was a bit here where like nothing was happening. I think the game just wasn't planning on me dealing with all of these monsters so quickly. So yeah, that's pretty fun. I like that a bit. Yeah, and again, oh no, more grip battery. I guess we're gonna do. Well, let's just keep giving her, bud. I don't remember if I had this much good luck with the grip in my first playthrough, but hey, I'll take it, right? Yeah, the grip's fun. I like the grip. We can keep that. But yeah, I guess what makes me sad about Callisto Protocol is like I do like a lot of elements to it. It's just it hasn't come together all in like a good way to make it fun. Like, okay, story's kind of meh. It's just a generic, oh, the corporation's bad. We gotta get out. Characters aren't super interesting. I do like Jacob. And, I did get to grab a monster and throw it into a fan so I could basically, go with my Alien 3 reference in the air. Right? You never could fully kill the Ubermorph in Dead Space 2, but you could glitch him out through that fan, which should have been an achievement. So now this game was like, alright, well, you know what? You can throw all the enemies into the fan. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. See, this is what I mean. Like, hello game. There's a monster you're supposed to be sending at me right now. I got a boss fight to do. Ah, there you are. So yeah, this is the two-head, which is meant to be like a reference to the split face monster from The Thing, which is great. And I don't know if it's because I have my guns upgraded, but I just remember that like the first time I fought this guy, it felt like it took like almost all the ammo in my inventory. And then every other subsequent fight in that game, and then also in the next playthrough, seemed like I downed him in like 30 seconds. Like, and then I only had to hit him once. That was the other thing I remember was, usually if I downed him there, right, and defeated him, and like he would then in the next instant like go to ripping off one of his heads. But I remember in the first playthrough it seemed like I had to like hit him multiple times and down him before he like ripped himself in half. So again, I know in this footage it's New Game Plus and I have upgraded guns, but I'm saying in my original playthrough this encounter took like multiple attempts of hitting him down to do that. But then the next fight, because you'll see here that they actually reused him 3 more times. We got more two-headed fights in the game. Yeah, those all went more smoothly as well. I don't really know what I did differently, but in any case, the two-head, he's a fun fight. The problem is the mechanics of the game don't really allow you to get much more complicated than what they've done here, right? Like, okay, so you gotta dodge a guy by dodging left or right, and you gotta hit him then with your stun baton, right? So, I mean, I like the clever thing they do with this guy, which is that, like, when you dodge, your dodge puts you too far away to be able to do a melee attack, so that's kind of your first clue, like, oh, okay, so I've gotta, like, use my guns a bit more, and it's a bit of a fun mix-up because you're used to being, like, your melee being the primary damage tool, with your guns being the little secondary thing, kind of like, shall we say, I don't know, perhaps Bloodborne style, right? So that's a fun shake-up there, and again, they also kind of mess with you by throwing another enemy into the mix, but And these guys, I guess, are intentionally quite weak. Right? So that's good. Especially because the two-head, he hits pretty hard. I think he basically can one-hit kill you, unless you're on full health. There was a bit in another fight where I blocked one of his attacks at full health, and then it triggered a death animation. But, yeah, death's another one down. That's the thing about the death animations. It's, some of them are, like, gloriously brutal and kind of like a, ooh, that's nasty sort of way. But, yeah, some of them are, like, a little too overly long to the fact that they give you a skip function. You can just skip past them, right? And, you know, if you're there just skipping past it, you're not invested, right? I don't know, I liked the necromorph death animations better. And then the other thing that was weird, I'm not sure how it works, is that there'd be some death animations where it's like these biophage monsters know, like, wrestling moves. You know, like it's almost like their Mortal Kombat finish him style of finishers on you. And it just seems a little odd. You know, I kind of thought these guys were just like, you know, brutal monsters trying to like just absolutely devour you. And some of them have that level of like brutality to them, which is pretty like, ugh, it's gnarly to watch. You know, it's kind of like, ugh, that's gross. But then some of them are like super elaborate, like doing like WWE finishers and like moving pile drivers and, you know, all them other moves like that. And I don't know, is it meant to imply that there's like a bit of humanity still in these guys, you know? But even then, you see them like the rage virus monsters in 28 Days Later. They don't even really do anything like that. They're just like Cal. So I don't know. And yeah, here's the big plot twist. The prison was actually a secret science experiment. What? No, there's no way. That's insane. And what it was is that they found this giant-ass Lovecraftian squid nightmare monster swimming underneath the ice of the Callisto Protocol. I'm sorry, the moon of Callisto's ocean, right? And apparently we missed all the cool stuff. And yeah, there was a bunch of like little bugs, little things that help spread the pathogen, little worm monsters, right? And there was some outbreak in this colony a long time ago, but there was one survivor, one who managed to adapt to it, right? The Subject Alpha. What could it be? Ooh, who knows? I guess we'll have to find out a bit later, you know. Oh no, sorry, it was Subject Zero. Sorry, completely different. Yeah, Subject Zero. Wait, Subject Zero? Jack? Mass Effect? Psycho Mantis? What's that all about? So, yeah, this is funny. We're kind of going to talk about this in a bit. But eventually, and that's going to lead us to talking about the twist that is that it was all Pubg. It was Pubg all along. But yeah, before we do that, we got ourselves another fight with Ferris. And starting to get a little more weird, crazy. That was odd that they put loot there when you only get like one realistic attempt to actually, you know, do that. But yeah, so he's not exactly a boss fight per se. You basically just need to, I think, dodge and do damage to him. And his main thing is that he just, you know, hits you a few times in a row. But like, the thing I found that's not too tricky with him, like I ended up taking some damage because I had some bad dodges here, is that the time that he recovers afterwards for you to attack him. See, that was pretty bad on my part there. I did a block instead. Not a great performance on my part, and overconfidence is your weakness. Is that he's not too tough because he gives you plenty of time after he attacks to be able to just choose when to attack the biobots. I hated those guys for that. But yeah, I love his voice here is so like despicably evil. But yep, we got by the weird face hugger, and yeah, I guess it's like he's just special in that he can absorb the biophage to become stronger, more better, harder, faster, better, stronger, and all that. But we, alas, cannot. And I gotta give a shout to this part here, you know, the great visuals of the shoe, you know, the secure housing unit, I believe. Yeah, the shoe. And this is just fun because what's the big twist is you end up right back where you started. Let's see, oh, them biobots ain't fully gone yet, or the security bots, they just don't do nothing. It's weird for me that, yeah, they're still, like, hanging around, doing things, but, like, not in a way that it affects the gameplay. It's, again, weak. This is the problem, is you've got an interesting combat system, the whole dodge attack thing. It's kind of a fun idea, but it just doesn't work because it means all of your enemies have to be like generic, like, you know, bipedal, two-armed creatures, and you can't get any more fancy than that when, you know, lore reasons you should be able to, right? I just think that's funny. It's like, yep, the story ends right where it begins, back in the original cell. Yeah, so I don't really like that. You know, like the two head's a good monster, but it doesn't really go much beyond that. Eventually, you do get some ones that are like, the biobots are kind of interesting. A few little things here and there, but not much. So, yeah, that's again another weakness in the game's part, but who knows, it could have been expanded upon more. I do like that I was worried it was going to pull a Beyond Two Souls, in that it was going to make it so that you had to, like, dodge, like, oh, if they hit to the left, you gotta dodge to the right. And I thought, no way you're gonna make me do that again, because I hated that in Beyond Two Souls. And thankfully, you didn't. And so next up we got this, like, server room area. And who do we have? We have another two-head. Yeah, so again, two-head, tough guy, especially on the hard difficulty, but not too tough. You basically just gotta make sure you dodge, and then get your hits in. So I think the hardest part about this fight is the arena. You know, it's very claustrophobic, but I like that. It's just like slowly over the course of the game you've been fighting him in more and more smaller and tightened up areas. So I like that. Then what else can I say on that? Yeah, so he's pretty cool. I remember the first time I walked into this room, I didn't think that it was a two-head. It turns out it was, you know. Just, I think, a little disappointing that, I don't know if they make them weaker or not, because, I mean, yeah, again, I have my upgraded guns, but it's not like it makes you do that much more damage. I don't know. And that's the other thing. It's like they couldn't come up with an interesting design fight for a boss, so what do? They make you fight him multiple times. Well, only in this one, though, it's better because you got a bunch of other enemies to deal with. And I just thought it would tank the hit on the explodey guy. But, yeah, look at that, already down some health, so that's pretty cool. And I'd say basically that's that mattress band for the most part. Do really wish, though, we could have gotten a proper kill with him in a fan, though. I think that would have been great. You know, again, in the air. Missed opportunity. Oh well. And that's that, again. Pretty good, huh? So that's it for the two-head fights. Yeah, pretty easy. Moving along now, we get to the final boss fight at the top of the tower. And this is, of course, where it is all revealed, except kind of, sort of, not really. Only if you've been truly paying attention and you know your Pubg lore. So this is like some weird-ass counselor, right? The survivor, what do they say? Vic Solidarius, which I guess sounds a little better than, winner, winner, chicken dinner. But so, the connection, the whole idea behind this is that the person who wins a PUBG match, a Fortnite match, is like the strongest person of all time. So the whole Callisto Protocol was to create an outbreak of a zombie virus and then have that be the thing that would cause everyone to fight each other and eventually produce like a sole survivor, and that sole survivor would be like the next evolution in humanity, right? So yeah, that's what it was all about. And so the final two in this situation are us, Jacob Lee, and Captain Ferris. So yeah, that's kind of the whole PUBG connection, which is funny because there's those two secret rooms you can find in, which I guess is also a clue because there's like a PUBG logo in them. And it's just so weird and random because I remember it was one of those things that got announced before the game came out. Oh yeah, did you know Callisto Protocol takes place in the PUBG universe? And then there wasn't much more to it than that. And then it was only revealed at the end that, this is the true connection. So, yeah, kind of fun, kind of dumb, kind of silly, I don't know, kind of strange. And again, the twist being that, did you know that the warden's actually evil? Ooh. But I know, Ferris, he's pretty cool. That way, I wish we could have gotten more of him as, again, like that Resident Evil sort of guy, like messing with you throughout, like a G-Man. Also, there was the perfect dodges I saw, which is kind of fun, but also kind of not really much. It's always just safer, I find, just to not do perfect dodges. And I think, does the game even tell you about a perfect dodge? I heard it didn't, but then I think maybe they patched that. There was a few things they patched, I think, from release. Yeah, and again, I thought there would be a bit more of a twist, funny that I thought the game was going to be, like, more clever than it actually was. Like I say, I thought that maybe the warden had some connection to us in some way, not just that simply, oh, he recognizes we're the guy that knows the secrets to everything. So, oh well. I do love this moment, though, where it's like, no, I guess you ain't the subject. You can't totally control it, and then he goes full on. Again, Resident Evil monsters. Everyone was making the Dead Space comparisons, when the game was coming out, but really, I would say Resident Evil in some elements is better because it's a weird zombie infection that causes mutations, and there's like a big bad guy in the corporation behind it. And you end up fighting a guy who, like, you fought throughout the game that, like, slowly mutates into more and more crazy, messed up monstrosities, right? That just feels very Resident Evil to me, at least of the games I have played. So yeah, this is an interesting fight. I can't recall if I did it first try, though, or not. I think I had one death here or there. Oh, well, that's how it is. I think, yeah, editing it was clever. Yeah, interesting concept to it. Again, it's just like the game has some moments of cool bits, and it's sad that it doesn't fully, do those bits there. And again, especially weird that a very melee-focused game ends with a big shooting gallery, especially with how tough this guy is with hit points. I think I used almost literally all my ammo. And I know there are ammo drops around the area, and you can also get clever because there is of course, the old suicide bomber enemies. Bet you didn't know that. You can grip them, so that's pretty fun, I like that. And again, I feel like also then the fights haven't balanced for your ability to heal, because, like, you do not get time to heal in boss fights. If you can get a heal off that's basically like you being able to pull off an incantation in an Elden Ring duel. You know what I'm saying? Also, yeah, Elden Ring Night Rain. Yeah, Elden Ring Fortnite Edition. That looks like fun. Can't wait for that. Maybe. I'm a little worried about that, and like it looks fun, but like how much am I gonna play it? You know, like now there was that Rainbow Six Extraction game, right? They had this whole thing, and what did they do with it? They didn't really do much. I don't know. That's one thing that kind of balances out with by having lots of like health pickups around the arena. That's kind of what I try to do here, because I knew like I'm not gonna get a chance to heal. And he's got his like, you know, little silly stun thing, you know. So, yeah. I mean, I like the feel of the guns. I like the weapon switching. I like this fun idea that it's like you have a like a little like trigger replacement for the gun, and then you put like different attachments on it to change it. But they're also just not that different. You've got like the regular pistol, and then you've got the handheld shotgun. Then you've got the other pistol that's not as good, and then you've got the two-handed shotgun, and then the assault rifle. So, yeah, I'm just not super into that in terms of weapon design, you know. And again, especially that some of the upgrades are just so, like, pointless, right? Like, why would I save up 4,500 credits for homing bullets that use twice as much ammo? Like, I feel like it's basically an ability that's designed for a boss fight specifically, which there aren't very many in there, and you don't need those abilities. With how much of a limited inventory the game gives you, it's just not worth it. So I don't know, maybe if there was like an expanded inventory or something. And there we go. Good old kinesis container to the face. So, yeah, that is the final boss fight of Callisto Protocol. And, you know, it's an alright fight. I just, you know, I don't know. I feel like they had ideas and they didn't balance it, which they attempted to do with the patches. And yeah, again, I didn't show you the whole bit where Jacob syncs up his core with Danny. Yeah, the whole big twist is the Europa wasn't a terrorist attack. Like, well, yeah, I could kind of figure that from the opening shot. Like, she didn't look like someone that intentionally did this. She looked like a random person, like, walking through. I don't know. That's strange. I'm not really super into that. And again, this warden guy, he's kind of just like, he's a dude. You know, he's a guy. There's nothing much to him. He's not as, like, hilariously over the top as someone like Albert Wesker, or, you know, as much of a crazed like cult leader like Mercer from Dead Space. And yeah, gave him the old Snake Plissken treatment. He's not here, he's a hologram. Pretty good. So, yeah, there we go. But we managed to save Danny from infection. Yay. I'll also give the game credit. There's a lot of fun visual tricks with like hallucinations in the last bit, so that's pretty cool, I guess. But yeah, and again, it ends with a sequel-made ending, which is kind of sad, you know, because we didn't stop the warden. And now you'll be seeing that we're also not escaping, right? Only got one escape pod. Oh well. Also funny that in this scene, like, the game gives you like a sprinting animation. Where was that sprinting animation earlier in the game? I don't know. But I guess again the levels weren't really like balanced for it, because you had all of these like very claustrophobic, small, contained environments, right? Which again could have been cool. It could have been, but I don't know. Also, there was the riot mode, you know, where you have like kind of like the horde mode arena thing. That was actually pretty fun, because the game better balances itself because you don't have as much inventory to worry about, and it just gives you a bunch of awesome abilities right off the bat. That was actually fun. I like the riot mode too. Definitely would play again, probably. So that's pretty cool. And yep, we gotta sacrifice ourselves, right? Gotta, face our sins and atone for them, atone for what I've done. Yeah. We need to queue up some Linkin Park at the end, right? But it's okay, we're gonna save the girl, so that's nice. Kind of a pretty standard ending to this whole thing, right? Jacob trying to be the noble guy, right? Save the girl. Again, very much Isaac trying to save Ellie in Dead Space 2 and 3. So, yeah, that's cool. And I wish we got more of the outside snow stuff. Like, once that tower collapses, we're basically locked inside for the rest of the game. That's too bad. Oh well, what can you do? And, but yeah, turns out that was the whole thing, is we gave Danny the data on the whole Callisto Protocol so she can expose the company for being evil. Black Iron Prison was actually not good, and there's a sample of the virus, so you can, it's the moon ending. Hopefully they'll get back to Earth and blow the whole lid on everything. Perhaps, maybe, we shall see. And then cut back to us. We're fighting off a bunch of the biophages. We ain't doing so hot. And this is where, of course, we have our sequel bait ending, because Mahler says, wait a minute, don't worry, I have a plan to save you, but we're gonna need to work together. And of course, it wouldn't be a Dead Space game without a random jump scare. And that confuses me though, because that was Mercer, or no, sorry, no, Mercer, that was Ferris. What was he doing there? And he was mutated. We'll see. But of course, as you do know, in the words of many Metal Gear Solid villains, it's not over yet, because we have, of course, as you saw there, final transmission to deal with, right? So final transmission was the story DLC added in. And of course, much like Dead Space 3, which this game is a remake of, the real ending, shall we say, is sold as separate DLC, which kind of sucks. You'd think this was an EA game, and maybe Glen Schofield picked up a few bad habits while he was there. So game wastes no time getting going with a bunch of really tough enemies. So yeah, that's a thing. And the thing that made it tough for me is that, carrying on my save from having beaten the game, this means that then I had to deal with the fact that I have, no ammo. I have no ammo because I used it all in the boss fight. And then I realized, wait a minute, this isn't good, because the whole start of the DLC is a giant hallway with a bunch of them explodey guys that you need to shoot. So it was a bit of a tough start for me, with all them explodey guys, especially with me wasting ammo. There we go. Good job, past me. So, yeah, somehow we're still alive, and we need to get to Mahler's lab and help her out, and what could that all be about? And do you guys mind? I'm trying to narrate here, right? Yeah, so the thing is while it is, kind of lame that the real ending is DLC, this is actually a good one, and it's strange to say that the DLC is actually beneficial. Oh yeah, still in a dream, Snake Eater. And the reason for that is that it allows them to, look at what didn't fully work in the game and do it better. That's weird. There's an audio log from myself. It's strange. I don't know. Turn off your machines before leaving. Okay, sure. Why not? That's probably a good policy to have. And yeah, so that's the thing with this and with Awakening, or Awakening, yeah, Dead Space 3 Awakened DLC, is that that's nasty. There's little bits that improve upon the base game that they could add in, and so it's annoying and sad to say that like the actual game ends up being improved by this. You'd want to think, oh, it's paid DLC, it's bad, but like, no, I've actually got to give it a lot of credit in certain situations. Yeah. Also, real big jump scare coming up, probably the scariest scare I've ever had. Like random floating body. Honestly, that was probably the scariest part of the game. Turn back your machines before leaving. Okay. That's funny. The first time I played through this, because again, this is technically a New Game Plus playthrough, I immediately turned back around. I was like, oh, that's probably the trick, right? It's like some kind of thing where like it's an infinite labyrinth, but if you turn around and go the other way, that solves it for you. And I was correct in that regard. So, that was good. But this time I was like, oh, so there's actually a little Easter egg if you keep going through the whole thing. Yeah, don't you get weird on me again, bro. I'm on to you. Turn back before leaving. Okay. Turn back before leaving. I'll think about that. Kind of funny that like the message is changing and slowly hinting at it to you. But yeah, they introduced new enemies in this DLC. The robots actually become more of a threat and are actually useful. There's a little bit more like stealth segments to it. You get a new melee weapon. There's a bit more messing with your head, creepiness, sort of scares to it, some psychologicalness. No, not you again. There's a nice fun boss fight. Turn back, leave. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of good elements to it, so it just, really sucks that, again, it's, well, real ending sold as DLC, which usually I would be so normally against. But it is what it is, and, it's really all kinds of nasty. No, so that's the thing, is perhaps I could have hoped for, another game or something, to improve upon, because sequels is a good chance to try to do it all right again. Yeah, no, you don't do that to me again. And turn back. Oh, what's that? Oh, a fuse. Okay. And we can't go through there anymore. Okay. I guess we gotta turn back. And I think here's where it is the fuse would normally let you, like, go through the door to the left, but you actually want to go forward, and that's what gets you. Oh, regret. Interesting. Yes, this fuse lets you go here, and it's the escape pod. Alright, let's get an achievement for that. Alright. And, yeah, so I'm going to spoil the ending now, but essentially the whole thing is that we're actually dead. This is all going through in our mind. It's about essentially like a mental battle to stay alive, so Mahler can get the last bit of the data about the biophage out to us and transmitted. So, what am I going? I don't know what I'm doing now. This is weird. It's all backwards for me. I was so conditioned to the previous way. And let's go. Gonna get there eventually, right? And yeah, so it is an interesting concept. I do like that. Just, maybe not the best execution, and definitely one that left a sour taste in people's mouths, because, here they were thinking, oh, Jacob's going to get out. He's actually going to be alive. Like, we're going to do something fun and interesting. And it turned out all to be, but it was all just a dream. I had that detail spoiled for me before I played the DLC, but I actually had thought it was going to be talking about the whole game was like a hallucination, which that would have been really bad. And, some weird praying mantis thing, I don't know. So, it is also fun to see, like, the biophage having totally taken over areas. Like, that's the shoe now. It looks even worse. And here we go, the good old bio bots, right? So they're definitely a fun addition in that they, they hit hard. You actually got to properly fight the security bots. They kind of got some weird charge up stun ability. Don't really like that because you don't really get the movement to be able to walk away from it. So I think the idea is you're supposed to block it, perhaps. But usually if I ever blocked it was by accident. But yeah, I do like them. The only issue I have with the bots is when you have to fight them with the gravity hammer. It feels to me like your melee swing is slower, and they're always throwing 2 of them at you. And the bots just don't really seem to care if you're taking your time, trying to fight one. So it definitely led to a lot of frustrating deaths in the later segments, which can be annoying. Especially with how limited your healing is, right? Because you need 2 health packs to be able to heal the full, and you can barely carry only 12 items and all your ammo for your guns. I feel like I should have approached the game with the mentality that I was only using certain guns and not trying to hold ammo for all of them. Perhaps could have been a better way to look at it. And I know some people have said don't even bother unlocking other guns. Jump scare. And definitely a really creepy enemy design, but that's going to be it for our stun baton, sadly. I mean, I'm sure there has to be another one around here somewhere, right? Definitely another little fun twist. The game takes away your melee tool, right? Need another weapon, but yeah, I really liked it. I did really like it. There was a fun sense of weight behind it, yes, here we go on Callisto Protocol Stealth Edition. Boom, down, down. Boom, down, down. Yeah. Dun, down, down. And, see me there? No, we're good. Yeah, I don't mind the stealth bits here because it's not like it's an insta-kill. Like, you still get the opportunity to be able to run and do your thing, which is usually how this segment ends up going for me. Because as, stealthy as I try to be. Okay, he's not going to look that way, is he? Yep. Bleep. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Into the vents. Here we go. Yeah, so it's a fun segment that they take away your melee weapon, but it doesn't last very long, and you only fight 2 enemies. So it's not like you have to really switch up your gameplay too much. It could have been fun, I think. Oh well. This is a fun switch up though for everyone's complaints about the vents being just a bunch of randomness, with nothing in them. No, they actually put weird ass fan razor blades that will come in and attack you and kill you, and oh, that was close. I almost walked right into that one. Yes, they got these whole weird these fans, and they're just coming through trying to kill enemies, and they're just crawling for your life behind them. I wonder though, I've never actually tested it if you are in actual danger here, or if it is just the illusion of danger. But I don't want to really stick around and find out, so this definitely had its intended effect on me to make me go, Jesus. So yeah, that is good indeed. I'll get another little upgrade here or there, so that's fun. Oh, the other thing I think that really would have benefited the game is a store function, or a safe, right? This is a fun bit of gameplay, you're trying to line this thing up, and the things are constantly moving around. Come on, you. There we go. Try to do it before you get got, and there we go. We've unlocked the Kinetic Hammer, which again is a very fun thing. It's just I don't really like that charge attacks. You don't really need to do much with them, right? And of course, there's always an extra hit. always a third hit. So I don't know like what it is, but like these bots seem like they go down a little easier. Whereas the ones that you fight in the other factory, it's like they have extra health or something, like they made these ones easier. Because like it just seems like they can just take such a beating. Like see, he's already lost his one arm. I don't know. Yeah, like because you get so many items with like no inventory space, so I think it would have been beneficial to like have some way where you could like the Dead Space safe, how you could place extra items in the safe. And I think that would have been handy. I don't think it would have broken the game balance because you get so few inventory slots, right? So I think that would have been better in that regard, because otherwise what do you do with all your extra stuff? I guess you just sell it. But like I say, I went through the entirety of the game selling everything, and just got the ability to upgrade it all right at the very end, which is crazy. So here we go, more biobots. And this is probably the toughest encounter I found, was against these guys here, because they don't care. They just give her. You only get like 1 or 2 hits in, and they just don't care, And then you have to fight 2 of them here, and then afterwards they just go, and then you need to fight another 2. It's kind of crazy. Yep, I'm going to take damage from that. There we go. But again, as frustrating as they can be, it is fun to fight like a really challenging enemy in that regard. So I like it for that element. I don't know. Yeah, I just wish we got a little more of this in the base game. I think it could have definitely been improved in that regard. Yeah, it's like getting the first arm down is bad, and then, oh yeah, I get 3 pistol bullets and a little bit of health, I don't know, I feel like, again, part of the inflated difficulty to it is that they're throwing 2 at you all the time, with not really much of a way to like balance or separate them. You just kind of gotta like pray to the RNGesus. Sometimes they do kind of stick back, waiting to get their lumps in, and other times they're just trying to hit you while you're mid-combo with the other ones. And see, I got kind of lucky with that. Like that one, like stood back all the way, while they let me do my thing to the other one. But I knew this was bad because, like, I do not have a chance to heal. I already reloaded from my save multiple times, and I don't want to have to do this again. But once you get the first arm down, you're pretty much in the clear, because you can only do a singular attack unless you just don't dodge it like that. There we go. Close fight indeed. So that will be 2 health kits down the drain. Oh well, what can you do? Also, I love this. The door says you belong here, and a 2-head comes out. And you're like, oh no, but it was all just a dream. I think it's funny, there's actually no 2 heads in the DLC. They tease it twice. Once with it at the end of a spooky hallway, and then the other right there. But no dice. The other thing I'm not biggest fan of the hammer is like the ground pound slam is just like too slow to like properly get an attack, so I just never really bother with it. And it's like your attack is just like half a second too slow if you start trying to attack the biobots when they're charging up their little screw-off AoE. But yeah, it is pretty satisfying. I feel like the timing's slightly off. Yeah. Oh, and then I also hate the pods that just kind of like pop out and grab you, with like no warning. You basically just have to be at the ready, or what I would do is if one got me like right before or right after a save point, I would just reload my save, and that's not a good sign when it just like you feel like the game wants to let you just be a save scummer and reload from saves, but I really feel that with Callisto Protocol you need to do that because health is not plentiful. you don't want to be forced in a situation that gives you free damage, and that's just frustrating, you know. But maybe the reason most of these bits happen when there is autosaves is the game wants you to do that. Seems strange to me. Oh well. I mean, I guess the other thing I can say about this game is that it made me want to, go boot up Dead Space 2 again, right? This is weird because I'm like, okay, so those guys are fake. Those guys are real. But, like, they can still damage you if you get hit before. I don't know. I do also like the spitter guys. They're kind of, like, fun in that there's a bit more strategy besides shoot it until it dies. It's shoot the head so that it can't shoot the acid at you until it dies. So definitely a fun hallway where you just get to go full on Doom Slayer mode. Pretty cool. All right. Now this brings us into the final stretch, and I definitely love the intensity this bit wraps up. You know, you fight so many biobots. Resources are running thin. There's that weird bit where you see Caitlin Mauler like get knocked down into the garbage disposal area. It's feeling so much like Alien 3, Dead Space 3 vibes in terms of the set design. We're getting this fiery lava element coming into it. I love that. It's weird messages written in blood, all the voices. Like, yeah, I do really like this build here to the final bit. And something about it feels like we're just like at the very bottom of everything. Like this is like the lowest, grungiest, scummiest place. Like we have, well, I guess, descended into hell. So, yeah, I like that element to it. And the final boss fight is against this weird-ass Caitlin Mauler zombie biophage monstrosity thing. So how is the fight? Is it good? Well, sort of. It's weird because I remember reading up so much stuff before, non-descriptive, but just people would say, oh, the final boss is bullshit, or oh, the final boss is so bad, or here's how you cheese the final boss. Like, don't even bother trying to do it, just cheese it, right? I was like, okay, well, what could be so bad about it? And I remember the first playthrough that I did, it took me about 3 or 4 tries, and it was about partway through the winning try that I realized the real big trick is the ground pound slam is not something you want to dodge or block. It's something you actually want to just do a little run around on her. And I realized it was my training, the Dark Souls training. You see, what's the thing you gotta do? You gotta, as they say in the industry, stick to that booty, right? So if she's revving up the ground pound slam, you are running directly towards her and to her side, because then you're going to like dodge the blast. The blast only hits in front. Gives me very Erd Tree Avatar mentality, right? When he does the ground pound Scarlet Rot slam attack. So figuring that out made the boss fight instantly easier. And again, that I think I beat it 4th try or so. Not so bad. It wasn't super frustrating. And then now on the hard difficulty though, it's a little tricky because I almost felt you could barely take a single hit. There was actually one bit where I mistimed the dodge for the ground pound slam and it legit one-shot me. And so at first I thought, oh, okay, maybe that's why people claim this fight is bad, you know, because you can basically get one shot if you have bad positioning. But then it actually happened to me a couple times in this fight that I kind of got, well, you see there, like hit to the side, and it didn't. I guess maybe perhaps there's the bit that damages you and the bit that shockwaves you, and I was only getting hit by the shockwave perhaps. So maybe there's that element to it. I'm not sure exactly how it works. And then, you know, I like here, like that was a block, I guess, not a damage one. I don't know, but in either case, I was dodging it, I guess, and taking some damage here and there, maybe. And then I guess the other frustrating thing is, yeah, like, when are you supposed to heal? Like, I feel the mentality behind a lot of these boss fights is simply just, you know, you don't heal. You just have to do it flawlessly. And all those little hits is just to, like, you know, like, give you a little incentive, just mess you up a bit. Not actually hurt you too much. But, yeah, that was the boss fight there. I basically just sold everything. I even sold all my health kits, because I knew I wouldn't need them. And just put it all into assault rifle ammo. So I can just go, you know, full on spray and pray. And yeah, scratch that one final boss down. So again, I didn't hate that fight. I don't know. A lot of people did. I didn't mind it. Maybe it's because they were like low on resources from all the other previous fights, and you know, it kind of just like you go through so many big kill box rooms, spend all your money, and I know that's the part of the game where I'm usually pretty good on resources, like right up until that part, and that's where there's kind of a bit of a resource crunch to be able to, you know, keep it all together, right? And here we go, the final escape. We can do this, man. We're almost there. We're almost there. And yeah, here we go. The big twist is going to be revealed, right? Almost there. Yeah. Almost there. Almost there. So what it actually is Caitlin Mahler found us near death and tried to keep us alive just long enough to be able to transfer the data from our core to be able to, you know, not extract our data, but yeah, take all the details from the experiment, send it through us to Danny's core. That's why it's hence a final transmission. And yeah, it is kind of sad that like Jacob just dies at the end. Keeps in theme with the whole spooky horrorness, but it really does seem to essentially kill off any chance that this game gets a sequel, you know. And yeah, that's a pretty creepy final image, you know. Now the world is gone, I'm just one. Oh God, help me. Basically one, that's what it is. And then of course there is a final randomly humorous scene at the end after like a long black screen and just the logo, and maybe like, is there something after the credits? Well, there is. It's a weird ass fourth wall break. It's like him being like, guys, I'm okay. Can you get him down from here? Right? This is Josh. So it's a fun, humorous note to end on. Very strange, alright. But, yeah. So, yeah, kind of sad that that's the end of it all, but, oh well. You know, that's just how it is, man. It wasn't a good launch, and they didn't do enough to it, and that's just how it is. But overall, I am glad I finally played Callisto Protocol, and we'll see what happens from here. Maybe we'll get a Dead Space 2 remake. Where are my goddamn legs? Anyway, so yeah, that was Callisto Protocol. If you did watch this, thank you. I know it's an old game, but this is the video I wanted to make. So I hope you all enjoyed that. I'll catch you next time. Have a good night.